McDaniel Street. We then also introduced the August 2015 statement of Quindarius Zachary, which was State's Exhibit 531Y, which Mr. Zachary corroborated some of the same information that Kenneth Copeland provided. He also added the additional information or evidence in that interview, which was Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Kendrick at the condo of Jeffrey Williams um, confessed to him that they had participated in the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. Those statements and the detail of those statements are corroborated by certain other evidence that has been admitted. We have the barbershop surveillance video, which at 292 Yankee Alpha through 292 Yankee Delta. That video surveillance showed Mr. Donovan Thomas Jr. outside the barbershop moments before a silver and color vehicle, which was identified in testimony as an Infiniti, drove down the street and shot several rounds of gunfire at and towards the direction of Mr. Donovan Thomas Jr. We also have the Texaco surveillance video, which corroborated Mr. Kenneth Copeland's statement. In his statement, Mr. Copeland tells officers that Demekian Garlington told him that they met at the Texaco gas station, that they switched cars, which he explained that Mr. Kendrick initially arrived in a Pontiac Bonneville, and that the gray Infiniti vehicle met at the Texaco gas station. That was depicted on the surveillance video. In the surveillance video, you see Mr. Kendrick walk into the gas station. You see Mr. Kendrick approach the vehicle, approach a silver Infiniti vehicle. You see both of those vehicles leave out of that gas station at the same time. Yana, yes, what we do not see is when the transition occurred between Mr. Kendrick getting out of the Bonneville and getting into the Infiniti, but we believe there's a reasonable inference that that happened off camera outside of, we believe, behind the Texaco gas station. Mr. Copeland also discussed in that interview that the car that they used was rented by Mr. Jeffrey Williams. We were able to admit State's Exhibit 334Y, which was the rental agreement from Hertz Rental, which showed that the vehicle was rented by Mr. Williams about 2 days before the homicide of Mr. Donovan Thomas Jr. We then also have phone records that corroborated what Mr. Copeland said. We have the phone records that showed that when Mr. Copeland woke up in the morning hours, or the afternoon hours, excuse me, of January 10th, 2015, he was located. He told police he was at his girlfriend's home, which was in the village of Carver Homes. The phone records corroborated that his phone was at that location at that time. He then proceeded to tell officers that from leaving his girlfriend's house, he went to the Green store. The phone records corroborated him going to the Green store. The phone records then corroborated what he told police, that he then went to the McDonald's gas station, the McDonald's restaurant, and that's where he met with Demekian Garlington, and that's when Demekian Garlington explained to him everything that occurred. Mr. Copeland was also able to tell the police that Mr. Demise McMullen actually was at the McDonald's when he arrived, or when he met with Mr. Garlington. The phone records corroborate that Mr. McMullen actually made contact with Mr. Williams about 6 minutes after the murder of Donovan Thomas. Immediately following the phone call with Mr. McMullen, there is a number of different phone calls to a variety of different people, specifically an individual by the name of Kelvin Treadwell, O.G. Bentley. Both Mr. Copeland and Mr. Zachary, in their statements, advised that after the murder of Donovan Thomas, that the guns in the vehicle were given to Kelvin Treadwell, also known as O.G. Bentley. The phone records corroborate that a number of different phones, Mr. Williams' phone, Mr. McMullen's phone, all ping in the location in and around near Kelvin Treadwell's home after the murder. Their phones ping off of the tower closest to Mr. Treadwell's home. So that evidence has come in, Your Honor. We have the autopsy photos that show that Mr. Donovan Thomas was murdered and killed with certain types of shell casings. Your Honor, we have the jail call of Mr. Stillwell. I do not have that exhibit number, which was entered after his preliminary hearing, Your Honor, in which at the preliminary hearing, we know from both Investigator Thorpe and Deputy District Attorney Michael Sprinkle that during the preliminary hearing itself, they didn't use any names. They used witness number one, witness number two. However, on the jail calls that we have both with Antonio Sledge and Mr. Stillwell, that they identified one of the witnesses being Little D. Little D was the nickname for Quindarius Zachary. And what Mr. Stillwell said during that call is, they snitched on me. And I'm paraphrasing. It was never, they lied on me. It was never any other language, but we have that evidence. We have that in evidence. We also have in evidence, Your Honor, States Exhibit 477NN, which is the slat talk video in which there, Mr. Stillwell says the words, "I just beat a murder rap, pay my lawyer 30 for that." Also, he has in his, we introduced more recently another song that Mr. Stillwell has, which was called BS or Bullshit. And in that song, he says, "Beat the Hom, no evidence." We believe that that is another reference to the murder of Donovan Thomas. We also have State's Exhibit 436 VV, which is Mr. Stillwell after in 2019 posting a picture with himself in a slime sweatshirt with the peanut gravestone in Spanish, then immediately deleting that from that Instagram post within a few minutes after posting it, Your Honor. So we believe that there is sufficient evidence for the jury for a rational trier of fact to be able to find the essential elements of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. Next, Your Honor, I will go to count 49, the other murder count in this indictment, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state has admitted crime scene photos of the crime scene at the time. That's going to be State's Exhibit 65, Victor Victor through 115, Victor Victor, specifically 79, Victor Victor has Mr. Shamel Drings deceased inside of the car.
We definitely know he's dead.
Yes, inside of the car. We then have, Your Honor, the surveillance videos from, specifically, I'm going to focus on the BP surveillance video, which is State's Exhibit 116 VV, and the FedEx surveillance video, which is State's Exhibit 117 VV. In both those videos, Your Honor, initially, before we know who was identified, we see a white, extremely darkly tinted Audi vehicle come to the gas station. We also see a white Ford Fusion. We see individuals from those two vehicles enter into the gas station. We later learn that that is both Shannon Stillwell, Quarmavius Nichols, and Miles Farley. We have the evidence that in that same surveillance video, within 5 to 7 minutes after they are at the location, Mr. Drinks arrives at their location in his red vehicle. He is seen walking inside of the store. That surveillance video then shows that when Mr. Drinks' red vehicle leaves, very soon thereafter, both the white Audi that's tinted leaves the location, as well as the white Ford Fusion. We do have a wiretap telephone call, which is State's Exhibit 437 VV. The call, I can't recall the page number at this time, Your Honor, but the call that is at 9:59 p.m. based upon the wiretap data, which is a call that tells from Demekion Garlington telling another occupant of the white Ford Fusion to immediately get on FaceTime, Your Honor. There's evidence from even Mr. Demekion Garlington's wiretap where they talk about getting on FaceTime when they don't want to discuss certain things on the phone. We also heard that from expert witnesses that FaceTime is a mechanism that is used when criminal activity is going to take a foot because it cannot be tracked. At 9:59, that call takes place. We then see on the FedEx surveillance video at approximately 10:01 p.m., Mr. Drinks arrives at the lights, as well as the white Audi, as well as the white Ford Fusion. The white Audi and the Ford Fusion stay at the light for approximately 2 minutes, Your Honor, before they take off into traffic running the red light. Your Honor, at that time, the red vehicle never moves again. We see from the ankle monitor records, Your Honor, based on the evidence that was provided in the ankle monitor records, that within a minute, Mr. Stillwell's ankle monitor goes from 18 miles per hour to 90 miles per hour. We know from the phone records that both cars travel in the same direction towards Fulton Industrial Boulevard, where we believe they go to a music studio. We then have from Mr. Stillwell's phone a phone note in which I'll paraphrase. He talks about dropping the ops very soon thereafter, and that is right after Mr. Um, Drinks is at that light. We then have, Your Honor, again, phone records that put both Mr. Stillwell, Mr. Farley, Mr. Nichols all in the same area, which is the area of the gas station in and around the same time. Your Honor, we have social media posts. Oftentimes we don't have motive, but we have social media posts in this case that were posted between March 11th, 2022 and March 15th, 2022. One, we know that on March 11th, 2022, the evidence showed that two YSL associates were murdered on a highway, both Mr. Christian McMiller and Mr. Darius Ford. And we have in evidence Stacy Exhibit 452 VV, which is a post from Mr. Stillwell. And I believe this post is on March 11th or maybe March 12th that says, "Just rest, Mac, I got you."
With Georgia Pathways, you may be eligible for free healthcare that gets you covered.
2022, we have Scarface, who is, we believe, in the car with Mr. Stillwell at the time that the murder takes place, posting a picture of both Mr. McMiller and Mr. Ford saying, "We got y'all boys." And that is only hours after the death and murder of Mr. Shamel Drinks. We then also introduced, Your Honor, the rental car agreement, which showed that Mr. Stillwell rented this vehicle on March 14th, 2022. And then we also have the wiretap information that shows that he went to a tinted window car place and got deep tinted tints on this car on the day that this occurs, Your Honor. And then we have text messages while in January of 2022 saying that he goes op hunting. So, Your Honor, we believe that that evidence is that evidence is evidence that a rational trier of fact could find the essential elements of the crime of murder beyond a reasonable doubt. Next, Your Honor, I will go to count 50 and 51, which are both the participation in criminal street gang activity as to Mr. Shannon Stillwell, and then count 57 as to Mr. Diamante Kendrick. Mr. Atkins touched on this somewhat, but I'll just add some additional evidence that has been presented. We have the testimony from investigator Mark Belknap, Trontavia Stevens, Walter Murphy, Antonio Sledge. Well, sometimes it was easy to get out, sometimes it wasn't, but they all have said that YSL is a gang. We have evidence of the tattoos of Mr. Kendrick, which was 518 VV to 520 VV. Which,
before you do the gang counts,
yes,
can you address the 58 through 61 drugs and machine gun, and whether there's evidence of constructive possession for Mr. Kendrick?
Yes, Your Honor. So first with the possession of machine gun, which is count 62.
Yes, sorry.
One, just the proof that of the gun itself, we have the.
I know that that's established.
Okay. So as regarding Mr. Kendrick, Your Honor, there is evidence that we know from his phone that he had been at the home earlier that day. We know that based on testimony from Officer Samba, that he fled from the home.
No, he was okay.
And apprehended, Your Honor, and we believe that that would be some evidence of consciousness of guilt, the fact that he fled before the police even, I think, hit the door of the home, that he had fled out of the home, Your Honor. We believe that inside of the home, there were a number of guns, both from the pictures, you can see that there's a number of guns outside on the kitchen table. There were some guns.
Remind me where the machine gun was found.
The machine gun is actually downstairs, we believe, in the basement of the home by underneath
Laying
the
on the
couch.
floor?
Yes, laying on
Yeah,
the floor
okay.
underneath the couch, Your Honor. It is the state's theory, Your Honor, that when the SWAT team did not make a quiet announcement to get to come into the home, and it is the state's theory that when the announcement was made, you could tell from some of the images, we believe that there was an effort to hide some of the items that were inside of the home. This gun was kind of maybe kicked underneath the couch, where you had to pull it looks like they pulled the couch back in order to observe this gun that was actually in the basement, Your Honor. To address the drugs, Your Honor, which are counts 58 through 60, which is the possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, the possession of codeine, and the possession of cocaine, Your Honor. I believe all of these items, which was Stacy Exhibit 12XX, 17XX, and 18XX, the marijuana, I believe, was out in the open. My memory serves me correct, I need to pull up the picture again, but I believe that the marijuana was out present and open in the home, Your Honor. That specifically 18XX was not hidden. 17XX was the marijuana with guns that was found in a cabinet, I believe above the refrigerator inside of the kitchen of the home. And then the codeine, if you give me a moment, I just want to pull up the picture so I can make sure I know where the codeine was found
They were
inside.
like in a box in a closet, right?
I believe they were, but I thought that there was some that was out as well. But of course, indulgence.
Couple questions are being asked. I do think that she's going to rule a not guilty on some of them, but maybe not all of them. We will take a poll, Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, the codeine was found in the closet and then in the bathroom upstairs in the house. And then the cocaine was found in the pantry as well. In that same bag, there was a bag that had in the pantry that had the cocaine and the cocaine and the codeine, Your Honor.
And then marijuana was out where, in the kitchen?
So there's one in a Tupperware container that's in the on the kitchen counter, and then there's the bag of marijuana that was in that cabinet with the gun.
Right.
That's in the cabinet above the, I think, the refrigerator.
Was there any evidence presented that Mr. Kendrick was like staying there as a residence, or just that he was there that day?
No, Your Honor, the evidence that we have is that he was present that day, and we believe that he had been present maybe a few days before.
But not continuously?
Not continuously, no, Your Honor.
And so can you address constructive possession?
Your Honor, it's just the state's position that at the time of Mr. Kendrick being at the home, that he had knowledge of the drugs being present in the home, Your Honor. Specifically the marijuana, Your Honor, as well as the guns being in and around the home.
He's only charged with a machine gun, right?
He's charged with a machine gun, and he's charged with possession of a firearm during a commission of felony with all the other guns that were found inside of the home, Your Honor. to
Address
discharge
position.
both.
The count.
That's,
Which count is that?
yes, Your Honor.
That's count 63.
Yeah, so count 62 is the machine gun and count 63 is possession of firearm by convicted felon for the other, in addition to the machine gun, the other guns found inside.
Where are all of those found? Remind me if you don't mind.
Yeah, they're found in different locations. So I believe the FNH57, I don't, so 13XX, Your Honor, the FNH57, and that's found on the kitchen counter behind like a green dinosaur.
How do you charge somebody with
Can you
possession?
show me a picture of that? Let me join Zoom.
And the gun under the couch. Girl, what? In the basement. Y'all don't know where they was placed at inside the house. So how are you? That's your best evidence, girl. Okay.
Yeah, I am too.
They need to be trying to check. They should have checked his flight information, because how you can't confirm if how long he was staying there. Doug told us that he had just came in from out of town. So when you say he had been there a few days before, girl, when? What days? How long did he stay? Well, we said that he knew that they was there. They don't mean that they are his or that he was in possession of it.
I believe the FNH57, and that's in the living room area.
All right, those are just sitting out on the counter, right?
Yes.
All right,
And then
that's in the cabinet.
that's the.
That's above, yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
So a lot of this looks like it's documenting what the guns are. I just want to see the ones that show where they were found.
So these are two more.
Those are in the cabinet.
Those are in the cabinet.
In a cabinet. Girl, show where they was sitting out at, and them boys was in possession of them.
This is the pantry, Your Honor, where this other gun was found.
That's like I think somebody referred to it as like the hidden
Yes. It's
door or something like that.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's where the codeine's found too?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mhm. And the cocaine?
Yes.
Okay.
And then this is where the machine gun is found, Your Honor.
And that's after the couch is moved or after it's,
Yes.
any idea where, do we have a picture of the couch before it was moved?
No, I don't think so, Your Honor. I think once they moved it and found it, they took a picture of it.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Come where it's better in the Bahamas. Come where it's better.
Where are all of those found? Remind me if you don't mind.
Yeah, they're found in different locations. So I believe the FNH57, I don't, so 13XX, Your Honor, the FNH57, and that's found on the kitchen counter behind like a green dinosaur. And then there's the two firearms.
Can you
which is-
show me a picture of that? Let me join Zoom. Yeah, I am too.
Yes, he did.
So, Your Honor, this is, I believe, the FNH 557, I think it's 57. And that's in the living room area.
All right, those are just sitting out on the counter, right?
Yes.
All right,
And then
that's in the cabinet.
that's the.
Above, yeah.
Yes, Your Honor,
So a lot of this looks like it's documenting what the guns are. I just want to see the ones that show where they were found.
So these are two more.
Those are in the cabinet.
Those are in the
Up
cabinet.
above, yeah.
This is the pantry, Your Honor, where this other gun was found.
That's like I think somebody referred to it as like the hidden
Yes. It's
door or something like that.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's where the codeine's found too?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mhm. And the cocaine?
Yes.
Okay.
And then this is where the machine gun is found, Your Honor.
That's after the couch is moved or after it's,
Yes.
any idea where, do we have a picture of the couch before it was moved?
No, I don't think so, Your Honor. I think once they moved it and found it, they took a picture of it.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Come where it's better in the Bahamas. Come where it's better.
I hate that A&F is using the law and crime the law and crime feed, because they have so many commercials.
I believe the FNH 557, I think it's 57. And that's in the living room area.
All right, those are just sitting out on the counter, right?
Yes.
All right,
And then
that's in the cabinet.
that's
above, yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
So a lot of this looks like it's documenting what the guns are. I just want to see the ones that show where they were found.
All right, so for everybody that just jumped in here,
These are two more.
Those are in the cabinet.
Those are in the
Up
cabinet.
above, yeah.
all right, so for everybody that just jumped in here, this morning, Doug and Max both presented their arguments for a directed verdict. Essentially, what that is them asking the judge or telling the judge, hey, they didn't really produce enough evidence that a reasonable jury would find my client guilty of this. And so they basically said, well, Doug and Max said, this is what was presented for this charge. This is what was presented for that charge. And now the state is standing up and saying, well, we did present X, Y, Z, and this is why. This is what we did. And so right now we're actually going through the charges for Yak's possession, because he's been charged with that. And I think the charge reads as in possession of or within arm's reach of. And so she's presenting that to Whitaker for her to make a decision. I hope that helps.
Do we have a picture of the couch before it was moved?
No, I don't think so, Your Honor. I think once they moved it and found it, they took a picture of it.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Come where it's better in the Bahamas. Come where it's better.
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
So a lot of this looks like it's documenting what the guns are. I just want to see the ones that show where they were found. Give me a second. I'm sorry, they're kind of not all together in the indictment. I
No
wanna make
problem,
sure
Your Honor.
of. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so for count 54, Your Honor, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, Mr. Drinks was killed with, I believe, a 40 caliber, I believe, a Glock handgun based upon the GBI testimony that came in. Your Honor, there was testimony yesterday from Investigator Viverito that in a video that's was created about an hour before the murder of Donovan Thomas, that there is a gun that could be consistent with a Glock 27, which is a 40 caliber handgun. That is the evidence that we have, Your Honor. We never recovered the handgun used in this case, Your Honor, but there is evidence. I believe if we look back to the Donovan Thomas murder, that after that murder, they got rid of the gun. It's the state's theory that the same thing occurred in this case, that after the murder of Mr. Drinks, that they did get rid of the Glock handgun that murdered Mr. Thomas. But we do know that Mr. Drinks, but we do know he was killed. It is the state's theory that Mr. Stillwell shot and killed him, and would have shot and killed him with a 40 caliber handgun, Your Honor.
All right, and then the other gun one was the one that was tossed or that.
Yes, Your Honor.
yeah,
Did we
tossed
know from Miss
right before they were arrested.
right before that? I'm sorry, that's count 60.
Okay, that was registered to.
Miss Taisha Alexander, Your Honor.
All right.
And I do believe for the gang, Your Honor, Mr. Adkins discussed that within the RICO when he talked about
Okay.
the gang. So
Thank you.
thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Reply argument.
I don't feel the need to go on and on, but Your Honor, I just wanted to clarify one thing. I felt that there was kind of a straw man where my argument was being presented about the overacts alleged, that I didn't, the state needs to give a history, and the jury needs to hear about the history of different acts. I'm not saying that those overacts aren't relevant. And obviously, I mean, we've been in here for a year. They've presented evidence of those overacts, many of them, not all of them. My assertion and my argument is merely that the state should not be allowed to create an indictment with alleged overacts that are outside the statute of limitations, and then a listing of those overacts goes back to the jury as part of the indictment. And that's all I'm arguing with that. Not that it's irrelevant, not that they can't get into it, because
Yeah,
obviously they
I
have.
understood that to be your argument. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Your Honor, the state stood up here and gave a very thorough response to our motion for a directed verdict. But they never once, and I was listening very carefully, and you specifically asked them about the constructive possession. They never once made argument regarding any intent shown by Mr. Kendrick on possession of those drugs or guns. They made some arguments perhaps about ability, although even that I think was somewhat strained, where you have firearms that are in cabinets and closets and wherever, and he's just a guest in the home. The issue of intent is one, again, that you're going to instruct the jury on in the jury instructions. You also have a mere presence that you're going to instruct the jury on. So Mr. Kendrick, while he may have been present in the home, there hasn't been any evidence regarding intent, Your Honor.
All right, why don't we take, I don't know if lunch is here yet, but why don't we take a break for a little while? Y'all can see if you can get together and come to whatever agreement you're going to come to on overt acts that there hasn't been evidence presented on. And I want to read the motion that got filed and look at some of the case law. And maybe review some of the evidence. And then, presuming I don't grant the motion on every count, which I think maybe there's been some acknowledgement that at least a tiny bit of one count might be able to go forward. We need to finish the charge conference. You were going to say something, Mr. Sharp?
I was just going to let Your Honor know that I did. Calling it a chart is really giving it way too much credit. But I did email that to Ms. Pursfield and the state, and I will update it after I confer with the state and figure out.
I didn't mean to oversell what we had put together last night.
It's fine.
One other thing, as far as the charge conference goes, I did submit one additional proposed jury instruction to
I
Ms.
saw that one.
Percival.
I'll be interested to hear your argument on that
Thank you.
and the state's response.
Yes, Your Honor. And on that note, we have discussed the charges for the overt acts that the jury would not otherwise be instructed on, like armed robbery. I just want to let the court and defense know that the state has and is about to submit
Okay.
to the court parties the underlying crimes of the
Okay.
overt acts that are crimes and not otherwise alleged.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, when it's appropriate, it can be later, but could the lawyers from each side approach about a scheduling matter?
Y'all can do that now.
All right, lovely people. So y'all asking about what motion? A directed verdict is a motion, y'all. A directed verdict is the motion. It is the motion. So. Crap. I lost a piece of meat. So what y'all think? I think it looked good for Yak. I think that they failed to present the things that they were supposed to present. I think that they didn't show, in my opinion, they didn't show enough proof. They did not show enough proof that Yak did what they claim he did. Hold on, y'all, because my job talking about somebody missing off of the invite. So all right. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. And I haven't had breakfast, so as y'all know, I'm eating. But the state didn't prove what they wanted to prove, and then as it related to that extra charge that they wanted to add, it sounds like they didn't include something. This is breakfast, y'all. I haven't even had this is breakfast. Shout out to JC. I'm just making sure, see if my girl in here. All right, I'm about to read through because JC is amazing. I don't know if y'all following JC right here on Twitter. But she is absolutely amazing. Sometimes she pops in here into the chat as well. And so we have a little group chat, and they were asking about what was going on, and she broke it down so well. So I'm gonna read through what she said, and hopefully it'll help too. So she wrote down, she said, yes, directed verdict. Doug and Shart argued any overt acts prior to 5/10/17 should not be sent back to the jury for consideration for the one overt act required to be proven for count one, as to not confuse the jury. So there is a statute of limitation there, and that was the argument. Like, if it's an overt act that's outside of that 5-year.
Your skin isn't the same as everyone else's. That's why Agency designed Future Formula, a personalized anti-aging.
Whatever that statute of limitation is, that it shouldn't go back. All right, don't confuse the jury. All right, Doug went on to say that Diamante was not placed inside the home outside of a couple of pictures, and that counts 57 through. And here she go. Now she want to talk.
Regard to the charge conference. However, I guess on the overt, do y'all mind doing the overt act thing and then getting that to me and then go into lunch so that I can have that with me? Okay, thank y'all.
Skin isn't the same
Thing and then I guess on the overt, do y'all mind doing the overt act thing and then getting that to me and then go into lunch so that I can
I need to hear what she said. I didn't even hear a time frame. All right, so basically, Doug was saying, yeah, I didn't really prove that my client was in possession of any of these guns or any of these drugs. And then Hilton just said that, well, he was known to be in the house that day, and she doesn't show proof of any time. She also doesn't prove that he had been staying there. They just know that he had been there, and that was testimony evidence that was provided. All right. The unalive nut.
Your skin isn't the same as everyone else's.
The unalive nut, again, all they showed was Diamante at the Texaco, at the gas station. And then it was said that there was testimony from Quindarius Zachary that he was there. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to just hang that up because I can't get it. For whatever reason, I can't catch it. I'm trying to eat and I'm trying to explain something to y'all at the same time. It ain't working for me. It ain't working for me right now. Okay, thank you, Lil. Because I'm like, I don't know what time she said come back. So, Doug and Shard requesting for count 63 and 130, and the 133 charge was placed in an indictment just for the high penalty and greater leverage for possible pleas. Therefore, they should not be able to now change it to a lesser value charge of 131 due to them indicting incorrectly. So this was the whole indictment thing from yesterday. And then JC told us that counts 57 for Kendrick and counts 50 through 51 I believe, was missing in furtherance of on the charges, therefore should not go back to the jury. She says also the state and defense agreed some of the overt acts that were no proof given during trial. Therefore, Whitaker advised them to get together and decide which ones will go back and which ones won't. Shout out to JC. So, family, cousins, how y'all think it's looking for Yak? What y'all think? Y'all think she gonna come back and say, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let this go? Or do y'all think she's going to send it to the jury? So we need to take a vote. We gotta take a vote. Throw your answers in the chat right now. We gotta take a poll. Do y'all think that all of Yak charges are going back to the jury? Some are going back, or do you think that Paige is going to grant a directed verdict? What y'all think? Why you scared, Miss Shereen? All right, we say, I don't know. Paige can't be trusted, in my opinion. All right, the jury, because they've been here and she don't want to waste their time. I think her head and heart will be in two places. She won't want to want this mess on her shoulders. Okay. Tongue is a powerful thing, absolutely. I'm thinking since Paige has a history of being the state's judge, so she's sending it all. Okay. Now that is an interesting perspective. Somebody says that good morning, everybody on TikTok. Good morning. We live right now on YouTube. So you're welcome to come over here and join us. We are streaming. And right now we are doing a poll on how we feel about Yak's charges. After hearing the state and the defense argue their directed verdict motions. Well, argue the directed verdict motion. How are y'all feeling? How are y'all feeling? Some of people over here saying, remember what they did to Moontoon. I think she's gonna send it all back and going to be decent with her sentencing on when they get on I'm gonna say if on what they get convicted on, if they get convicted on anything. I agree with that. I don't think she's gonna. I think that the whole double jeopardy thing, I don't know if y'all remember her making that statement about it being double jeopardy, because it really, really is, especially for them thing charges. I think if everything goes to the jury, she'll be there. All right, they say Yak shouldn't be there. They say y'all saying free the jury over here. All right, so we got mixed feelings about Yak. What y'all think about Shannon? What y'all think about Shannon? Hey, TikTok family. What y'all think about Shannon? And a lot of people saying they're concerned about him. I see people say I'm worried about him. Everybody saying Shannon gonna be judged by 12 in this one. What y'all think over here on TikTok? Shannon is innocent for real. I think Shannon is innocent on some of this stuff, but having Taisha Thumper, baby, it was. I think it's enough. I think they got enough to get him. I think it's more than beyond a reasonable doubt on that. All right, what's going on over here? Again, y'all, we on YouTube. So all 162 of y'all, if y'all want to come and chill with us, we on YouTube. Baby, I get every piece of meat up out of that bowl. Chick-fil-A did that big one when they made that scramble. Okay? Chick-fil-A did an amazing job when they made that scramble. Amazing. Because that was God's work when they did that. Okay, everybody's saying that Shannon gonna get the thumper charge. Everybody think he's gonna get the thumper charge. Everybody thinking that he's not gonna get the M charge. Okay. Val says that she thinks that the Donovan Thomas M and the thumpers and rugs for Yak will get granted. I think she's gonna send the thumpers to the jury. The thumpers and the rugs. She might send that to the jury. But I do think I hope that she let that M go on Yak for sure. Yep. What do they have on Shannon? When it comes to that thumper charge, they got the thumper. It was registered to the girl who he was in a relationship with. She got on the stage. She on the call saying that he had the thumper. Like, I think that he get that one. I mean, I think he get that one. Yeah, but Yak probably gonna be home for Thanksgiving. Yak gonna be home for Thanksgiving for sure. That man was an artist, and here's the thing, y'all. We only just watched them argue the motion. We haven't even gotten to closing arguments. When it's gonna, we were all sitting there talking about it's gonna come down to closing. It's gonna come down to closing. When it comes to closing arguments, it's gonna be a bow on the present. It's gonna put the bow on the present. I need all 196 of y'all to come over here. Come over to YouTube. Come over to YouTube. Come over to YouTube. I believe that closing argument is gonna put the present on the bow. It's gonna put the bow on the present, because at that point, Doug can argue where Yak. He can talk about where Yak was at. He can introduce the doubt of him being there for days. Doug can talk about how he's a guest. Doug can talk about the evidence that they presented on Donovan Thomas. Doug can say all the things that he needs to say, in my opinion, during that closing argument. And then when it comes to Shannon, what Nathan said, y'all, what she just said, because y'all laughing at her. What they say? Oh, I'm not repeating it. I'm not repeating it. When Max get up there and argue, baby, Max gonna tear the club up. Max gonna tear the club up when he get up there and argue. How many objections do y'all think are gonna come from Max and Doug's argument? Because you know they're gonna be objecting through the whole thing. Y'all know they're gonna be objecting through the whole thing. Objection, Your Honor. Testimony. Objection, Your Honor. Crazy. That's just how they chose to charge him, Lacey. And the question was, Taylor, how is Jack charged with guns and drugs when Thug, the homeowner, owned them? They charging him with possession, saying that he was around them. He knew that they was there. He was in possession of it. He was in arm's length of them. So they giving it to him. It's just how they charge that. It's just how they do that charge. That's not strange though. That's not strange. I think that they do that anywhere. If you caught in a house with somebody weapon, they can charge you with it. They sure can. He was outside. That's what they said. Taylor, can you tried the other parfait from there? I only eat the one parfait, baby. The one, and I get the granola. Mm-hmm. That's right, Tori. Felons cannot be around thumpers. It's against the law. You cannot be a felon around a thumper. So you getting a charge, baby. They're gonna give you something. Mizzle. I know they was objecting during opening statement, so I think they can object during a closing. They sure did. They was out there. They was objecting left and right during the opening. Unless someone claims it, you can't be charged. Yep, they can charge you with it. For sure. Yak wasn't a felon though. How come he wasn't? He had got caught with a thumper when he had did that incident with him and Duke. He pled guilty. He pled guilty to this. So how come he wasn't a felon? We need Harvey for the closing. Okay. We need Bruce Harvey to come step in the building. We absolutely do. He showed up yesterday. I said, look at Bruce. Yep. It's kind of hard to manage these two comments. That's what I'm telling y'all. It's 200 of y'all sitting over here on TikTok. Y'all can just come over here to YouTube. Go to my link. Go to my profile. Click the link. Go to YouTube and just come over here on YouTube. Just come over here with us. All right? It'll be so much easier. So much easier. And I hate to address the elephant in the room, but I'm gonna need for y'all to stop commenting on my post talking about I left out a bunch of stuff or I skipped the tea. I do not talk about that type of stuff at all. I addressed it on live with Arian on yesterday, and that was it, and that was all. That's all you ever gonna get out of me. I did not leave out anything. I didn't skip anything. I didn't leave out anything. I didn't skip anything. I talked about what I felt was important. And that's what I'm always going to talk about, what I feel is to be important. If I'm not your cup of tea, that's fine with me. There were plenty of other creators who talked about it. I think Kayla even talked about it. So if that's what you were looking for, baby, you got to go over there. You can't come over here with it because I ain't going to do it. All right? Thank you. Thank y'all, YouTube family. They said the comments go too fast on YouTube. So I got to figure out how to change the comments, how to slow the comments down. I don't know how to do it. Playback, is it under playback and performances? Browsing. I don't know how to do it. They said the comments going too fast, y'all. I'm gonna try to slow them down, please. Hold on. Let me see what I can do, y'all. Let me see. Okay. Is it under community? No. All right, let me ask Google how I turn the comments. How do I slow the comments down? There is a slow-mo, but I don't know how to do it. Thank you. Diddy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No, Paige has not made a ruling, y'all. So the ruling is going to come. I'm hoping that the ruling comes today. We get ready to take a break. We about to have lunch. And then after lunch, she's supposed to be back. So maybe she's gonna think about it during this time. And I'm still trying to figure out, y'all, let me Google how to slow down comments on YouTube. I know this call ain't happening now. Yes, it is. All right, y'all. So I'm actually gonna have to jump off a live anyway. I'm gonna try to figure out how to turn down the comments. I will be back. I'll be back at 1. I'll be back at 1 so we can watch the decision and whatever else happened today. I will absolutely see y'all later. I gotta go. Thank you, Val. I appreciate the super chat.